Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado. Always warm, always sunny, sometimes Colorado. Today is July 30th, 2021. Just about to head to bed, but the weekend is coming, and I figured I'd make a quick video for you guys to talk about a few things. So, where are we at? Well, we are on schedule. Things are moving along, chugging away, finding bugs as usual, shipping software as usual. And there are kind of two parallel tracks going on at the same time for the launch of Alonzo. And I wanted to make sure that everybody understood those parallel tracks. And let me grab some more bandwidth here. 1 second. There we go. Okay. So track number, let me click on comments. There we go. Track number one is the hard fork. The hard fork combinator event is strictly about getting Alonzo capabilities to the node, and meaning that if Plutus code was submitted, it would be able to execute and those transactions would be valid. The other track is about building the infrastructure around that node that allows you to run both off-chain and on-chain code and build full dApps inside the system. So the first part is what the hard fork is required. Everything else is software. Basically, you write stuff and it compiles down and runs in Plutus Core. So the first part, to get to the Alonzo HFC event, we need a fully working node, which we have, a fully integrated wallet backend to that node, which we're right now finishing up and should be finished next week. And then Daedalus has to click on to that. And we've already started that integration process. And it usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks when you have a new node, new wallet backend, for those pieces to fit together. Okay, so when that occurs, at that point, as long as we're comfortable with that design and those ledger rules, we can begin the countdown to a hard fork process, an HFC event. Now, everything else is about building infrastructure around that so that dApp developers come in and they have a good development experience and they can deploy dApps and so forth. But none of that requires a soft or hard fork. That's about waking up the infrastructure and building things. And so you'll see this term, Plutus Application Backend. Kevin Hammond in yesterday's Cardano 360 kind of went through all of the components, but the application backend is the big boy. So the integration for the application backend against the wallet is starting, and that is likely going to conclude in September. Probably September 10th is the tentative date that we have for that. So every shade of Alonzo, when you go from Alonzo blue, which we were at, to white, which we're currently at, to light purple, to the darker purple, to red, to black, that's about the escalation of the infrastructure, less about the hard fork. Right now, we've gotten a point with blue and white where we're getting an increasingly higher level of confidence that all of the things are solid and stable for the parameterizations and for the actual ledger rules. We're pretty comfortable about all of that. So that means that we can do the hard fork relatively soon. My belief is within 4 to 6 weeks. So late August, early September, tentatively August 31st, unless something significant comes up, and then it'll delay it a week or two more. So the Alonzo hard fork is definitely possible. What does that mean? It means that you actually can run smart contracts the moment that hard fork comes on Cardano. But at the same time, that second track is going, and you'll see us go from white to light purple to red to black. Okay, so they're not connected to each other where we have to go through all the colors of the rainbow before we upgrade the main net. This is more about acid testing all of the Plutus infrastructure and building an increasingly better environment for Cardano dApps to be developed and deployed on. But it's a parallel track to the hard fork that needs to be done. I wanted to point this out because when people really think about it, they'll think that things are sequential, and they'll think that we have to go through the whole rainbow before the hard fork event happens. And that's just not the case. After white, light purple, that time frame, there's enough people, enough progress, enough things occurring that we can actually do a hard fork combinator event and upgrade the system, and therefore the Alonzo era is here. What that technically means is if someone had their own application backend, if somebody actually had some tooling, and there's already some out there, they actually could build full Cardano applications. So the recommended way of doing it still takes some more time, but you can actually run, from the minute the hard fork happens, all of the Plutus code. And all of that software we're building around, that surrounding infrastructure that we're building around, that is necessary to improve the development experience and build richer dApps, but it is not necessary to run the dApps from the perspective of the on-chain stuff. That's what the hard fork is buying us. So those are working their way through. And I just wanted to make sure that people understood the difference between those two, because this nuance can be lost. Everybody tends to think sequentially, and the reality is they're very different. There's always going to be a long tail when people build infrastructure for developers, because there's new versions of the language, there's more libraries, there's more development tools, there's more things that you get interoperable with, and there's a huge constellation of infrastructure that Cardano has. The GraphQL stuff, the Rosetta support, DB Sync, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's dozens of things that are there. There's over 100 integration partners that are using the software in some capacity, from exchanges to Celsius to others like Nexo. And so whenever you do an upgrade, you have to do it in stages, or else what happens is that you inadvertently damage that infrastructure and things get shut off. So from the point of Alonzo, the goal is to get first an upgrade for those partners out of the way so they can all get on, and continue what we've been doing with the beta, which is every color we add more people, more exercises, we continue training. There's well over 2,000 people who've gone through this Plutus Pioneers program. We continue adding companies, we continue adding infrastructure and testing and these types of things. And we learned an enormous amount along the way. Found a serialization bug the other day, a couple of quirky, weird behaviors. We've discovered that some of the error messages or other things are not as well formed as they should be. Literally every week, dozens of bugs or issues are being discovered as people cascade in and they look at things from different directions. And we see an overwhelming degree of enthusiasm from that group of people. So I still think our timelines are good. August, September, those are holding strong. And I still believe that most of the development infrastructure will be built in the August-September timeframe. And then a long tail of iterative improvements to that infrastructure as dApps are built and deployed on Cardano. We are also in deep conversations with our integration partners about when and how to do the Alonzo rollout. But thanks to the fact that we've done Mary and all these other prior HFC events, we've aligned things in a way where it's basically an art to deploy. We understand that very well. We're very good at that. So everything is looking pretty good. It's been exceedingly stressful and time consuming, a lot of moving pieces. I've been traveling a little bit too, because there's so much commercial activity going on and a few other things here and there that are related. So I haven't had time to do AMAs recently, but I'll get back to that probably next week. But I did want to, in lieu of those AMAs, make a video for you guys just to kind of let you know what's going on. We're in the weeds, and there's just so many moving pieces. But so far, the program is actually working better than it's ever worked before. Shelley was very rough for a launch. We got through it, but it was brutal for everyone involved. And over time, the accuracy of predictions, the velocity of development, and also the work-life balance has considerably improved. There's still some rough edges here and there, especially with crunch time. But this is a significantly easier time than Shelley was last year. However, the volume of work has dramatically increased because there's not just a node anymore. There's a constellation of applications and stuff. There's the summit we're planning in September at University of Wyoming. There's a lot of new initiatives we're starting. There's a lot of new commercial relationships we're starting, closing out some old things, opening some new things. And the company keeps growing. We're over 500 people in 52 countries, and we've definitely turned a page on a lot of things. So Alonzo is on track. People are working certainly hard on that. Thank you so much to all the Alonzo beta testers who are participating in White, who completed the exercise. Thank you so much for all the pioneers who took the time to go through the entire program. Thank you so much to the development partners who've been working with us. We're going to get this all done, and I'm glad you're here with us. August is going to be a big crunch month because my hope is that we can continue the velocity that we're on and get to the Hard Fork Combinator event. If not at the end of August, then early September. But it looks like we're going to be in that time band, and I have not received any information to the contrary there. And then actually after that HFC event occurs, the Alonzo Age is here, smart contracts are here. And week by week, month by month, the development experience for those and the DApp ecosystem for those will grow considerably. So from day one, people will be running things on the Cardano blockchain, and the sophistication of those things and the interfaces of those things will only get better over time. And then we'll see all kinds of cool DeFi and RealFi and all kinds of cool things. And of course, we're working real hard to make sure that there's some great launch applications to demonstrate the power of the extended UTXO model and the ecosystem as a whole. So thank you all for listening. I'm going to go get some sleep. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers.